Hello friends, in this video I will be discussing about the basic strategies that enzymes follow to speed up reaction. So as we are all aware that enzymes are biological catalysts and they speed up reaction by one of the fundamental logic and strategy known as lowering the activation energy. Now one important question that arises here, that what is activation energy and how does lowering an activation energy results in speeding up of the reaction? And the next question is, what is inside the enzymes that allows them to lower this activation energy? So let us start from the first question, that what is activation energy? Let me give you a brief example. The happening of a process or non-happening of a process is mainly decided by the thermodynamics of reaction. That means whether a process is spontaneous or non-spontaneous is mainly governed by the delta G value, which is difference between the Gibbs energy of reactant and product. It should be negative. That means the Gibbs energy of product should always be lower than Gibbs energy of reactant in order to call a process spontaneous. Now let me ask you one more thing. This paper that I am holding in my hand is made up of cellulose, and this is basically made up of a number of glucose units. So what do you think about the oxidation of this glucose? Is it a spontaneous process or non-spontaneous process? Of course, if you will track around the values of Gibbs free energy change, you would realize that oxidation of glucose is a spontaneous process. Now, why does this paper doesn't burn itself, get oxidized by itself, even if we have oxygen all around here, all around the space? Similarly, there are plenty of reactions around us which can be considered as spontaneous, but they don't happen by themselves. The basic reason is that every reaction, whether it is spontaneous or non-spontaneous, is stopped by a simple energy barrier, which prevents it from happening itself. We can also take example of a ball placed on a ramp. For example, a ball is placed on a highest point on the ramp, then it is likely to roll down the ramp by itself. That means it is likely to have spontaneity. But if you place a bump, a small bump as it has been shown in the figure, then the ball, despite being spontaneous process, will not come at the bottom, but it will be stopped at that bump. And somehow, if you take that ball and place it above that bump or the stop on the ramp, you will be able to bring that ball down. So this is what is clearly analogous to most of the biochemical as well as chemical reactions. This can also be exemplified by this paper again. As I explained, that the oxidation of this paper is a spontaneous process, but it doesn't happen by itself, which means the process of oxidation of this paper has been stopped by an energy barrier which is present inside it. And if you provide that minimum amount of energy to bring that to a state from where it can automatically form product, this paper will get oxidized. And how can I provide that energy? So let me use this small lighter in order to provide that energy. If I use this lighter and I burn this paper, you can see even if I switch off this lighter, the paper is burning, and it can burn up to the last place despite the fact that lighter has been closed off. So this indicates that the process is now spontaneous and it doesn't require any more energy afterwards. So what we have seen in this process is that any reaction which is spontaneous, and if you provide a very small amount of activation energy, which is the energy barrier required to cross the threshold, then the process can go on by itself. Now this is something that stops any reaction by happening itself in the nature, despite the fact that most of the reactions may be spontaneous. Now what enzymes do? Enzymes are capable of lowering this requirement. So suppose in this case I used my lighter to burn this paper, I gave some amount of energy to the paper to get oxidized. But if I use some enzyme and which decreases this requirement to a very little threshold, that means simply by rubbing, if I can provide that energy, then even without using this lighter, I can burn this paper. So you can presume that if I add some enzyme which is provoking or which is stimulating the process of oxidation, that can do this process at a minimum energy. This is how enzymes lower the activation energy and speed up the reaction. Now the next question. How do reactions get speeded up if you decrease the activation energy? So this can be considered analogous to a simple phenomena like you have a mountain across which you have to make some run or you have to cross that mountain. As it has been shown in the figure, if you want to cross a mountain which is much higher, then obviously it would require more time compared to the mountain which is smaller in height. Similarly, the non-enzymatic reactions where this barrier is too high, those reactions require more time compared to the enzymatic reaction where this barrier is less high. But this doesn't answer the quantitative way of lowering in activation energy. If you answer me how much lowering in activation energy is required to speed up the reaction, let's say 100 times or 1000 times, or can we quantitatively find out the number of times the reaction has been speeded up by adding enzymes, is that possible? Yes, it is possible. That can be done with the help of using a famous Arrhenius equation, which relates rate constant or rate of the reaction with activation energy on the negative logarithmic scale. As you can see that K is equal to A into e raised to power minus activation energy divided by R into T, where R is gas constant, T is the temperature, EA is activation energy, and A is known as pre-exponent factor, which depend upon the conditions of the solution as well as frequencies of collision between the molecules, and K is the rate constant. So you can clearly know from this equation or understand from this equation that rate is inversely proportional on the logarithmic scale with activation energy. That means a very small decrease in the activation energy can lead to very large increase in the rate constant. And this explains the second question, that how do enzymes speed up the reaction by lowering the activation energy. This can also be seen in the form of a graph. As you can see in the graphical presentation, you will be able to realize that the relationship between rate constant and activation energy is inversely related on the exponent, which means decrease in activation energy rapidly cause an increase in rate of the reaction. We can solve a number of questions by placing some hypothetical values of change in activation energy, and we can determine how much increment in the rate will be obtained, which is generally of the order of 10 to power 5 to 10 to power 12. That means about 1 trillion times by an enzyme. Now the next question or third question arises, that what is there in an enzyme that leads to decrease in this activation energy? So it is basically the shape of an enzyme that decides the complementarity and lead to the binding of substrate with the enzyme, which ultimately or eventually forms enzyme substrate complex, and that is turned out to a transition state which is relatively higher energy state. This can be explained with the help of a simple energy coordinate diagram which you can see on the screen, and you can realize that in a non-enzymatic reaction, substrate is simply converted into a transition state as star, which is relatively at a higher energy, and the difference of energy between substrate's Gibbs energy as well as Gibbs energy of transition state can be called as its activation energy, whereas the difference between energies of reactant and product will be called as Gibbs energy change of a reaction. Whereas if you now look at another graph which is representing the enzymatic reaction, you would realize that there are multiple peaks, maxima and minima in this graph. Those are representing formation of enzyme substrate complex, which is an intermediate at the lower energy state, and then ES star, which is representing the transition state, and then EP transition state, and formation of product eventually. But one thing that you would notice, that amount of energy or Gibbs energy present in the enzyme substrate transition state is relatively lesser than non-enzymatic reaction, and this indicates that enzyme has lowered this activation energy. And this difference between the activation energy of non-enzymatic reaction and activation energy of enzymatic reaction can be called as binding energy of the enzyme, which arises from the relative interaction between the enzyme and substrate, which are complementary to each other. If you look more intuitively into the mechanistic part, we would realize that when enzyme interacts with substrate, it can do so by a number of mechanisms. Like enzyme can interact covalently with the substrate, enzyme can interact through metal ions, or enzyme can simply make weaker interactions with the substrate. This is what is defined as different mechanisms of catalysis, such as covalent catalysis, acid-base catalysis, or metal ion catalysis. In most of the cases, enzymes catalyze by more than one mechanisms, and that's hybrid catalysis. Besides this, approach of a substrate near the enzyme also leads to the proximity or increased number of productive collisions. If you want to understand this more clearly, let us take an analogy of non-enzymatic and enzymatic reaction and consider three different effects that are imposed by enzyme onto the substrate. The first effect is known as entropy effect. It means when an enzyme is interacting with substrate, it is actually bringing the substrate to its active site. Whereas in absence of the enzyme, the reactant molecules or the substrate molecules are interacting among themselves at a random collision frequency, which can be given by Arrhenius equation. Now, this random collision between the particles or reactant may be often non-productive or less productive compared to the enzymatic reaction. Let us assume a case, say there are 1,000 molecules which are interacting together or colliding together per minute, and every collision is requiring 1 joule of energy, then on an average we will be using 1000 joules of energy per molecule. But it does not mean that every collision is resulting in a productive form. For example, if you have two things, like one thing here and another thing here, they have to interact in a specific manner. So the collision will be making a product only when they interact in a specific orientation. If they interact in some other orientation which does not lead to the product formation, then that energy will be wasted and product formation will not occur. So in absence of enzyme, the entropy or randomness is quite high, and therefore the number of product molecules formed are less, and per unit product, the amount of energy required for transition state is relatively higher. But when enzymes are present, they make sure that reactant molecules, they arrange or orient themselves in a proper fashion, and they lead to the more productive molecules. So again, let's say if there are 1000 molecules interacting per minute, and out of 1000 molecules, let us say 900 molecules are making products, then the same amount of energy will be resulting in 900 products, and per unit product molecule requirement of energy will decrease. This is known as entropy effect, and this effect result in decrease in activation energy by enzyme. The second important effect is known as proximity effect, where an enzyme molecule makes sure that two reacting species or two reacting molecules, they come much closer to each other when enzyme is not present. So in absence of enzyme, most of the molecules which are polar in nature, they are surrounded by water molecules, which is called as solvation sphere or hydration sphere. But as active site of enzyme provides a local microenvironment, those water molecules are already eliminated and solvation of sphere is eliminated so as to bring the reacting species much closer to each other. And this also saves energy, and therefore it decreases the energy demand for bringing the reacting species to the transition state or activated state. Besides this, a third condition or a third effect, which is called as strain effect, also contributes to the decrease or lowering in activation energy, and that condition or that effect is known as strain effect. You might be knowing that an enzyme and substrate are like key and lock. But this theory sometimes fails and could not answer the formation of transition state complexes, because when a substrate bound to an enzyme switches from normal condition to transition state, there is formation or reshuffling of the bonds, and that slightly changes shape of the molecules. So if the shape of substrate has changed, and we understand that enzyme and substrate are complementary to each other like key and lock, then probably during the transition state, the substrate should move off because its shape has changed. It does not happen. The matter of fact is that transition state complexes are much more tightly bound to the enzyme compared to the substrate alone. So this was then modified by another scientist named Koshland. The previous theory was given by Emil Fischer. So Koshland suggested that instead of key and lock hypothesis, the enzyme and substrate they are very flexible and they can change their shape. So as soon as the substrate changes into transition state, the shape of enzyme also changes according to the transition state. But this leads to some substantial strain on enzyme molecule, because enzyme now tend to return back to its original state. And during this process, the enzyme also imparts a kind of strain onto the substrate to quickly achieve the transition state, or to quickly break down that transition state into product that eventually favors the product formation. And you can say there is again decreased amount of energy which is required for activation of the molecule. So these three effects, first one entropy effect, second one proximity effect or solvation effect, and third one called strain effect, account for decrease in activation energy by enzyme. And with the help of these three effects, we can successfully conclude that enzymes lower the activation energy, and this lowering in activation energy results in speeding up of the reaction, which is governed by Arrhenius equation, and three effects which are mainly arising due to binding of enzyme with substrate are accounting for decrease in this activation energy. Thank you.